time.
Shut the hell up! It's my turn!
Okay, you have to have CTE kicked in from the last time.
What happens in the dojo stays in the sauna, but then yet it's still leaked to the internet.
Ooh, self-burn. Those are rare.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Bullshit.
You are now listening to the Not Your Average Sports Fans podcast. Now here's your host, Alec Beichelman, and the fans.
Hello and welcome to Not Your Average Sports Fans podcast. I am Alec Beichelman, welcoming into the studio just a fan.
Hello.
Actually, two fans. Blacking-footed, warm-flooding, tube-man fan, and Chris. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to, well, new platform, new lives, same people, same bullshit. We're always off of that. Just be honest. We are now live on YouTube. We are stepping away from the Facebook Live game. I'm going to see what some options can be in terms of being live. Wanted to see what would happen with YouTube, and right now I'm kind of liking the features of YouTube in terms of my end. So hopefully we can start seeing some stuff with that and some positives and things along those lines. But let's get to the important stuff. Let's kick this guy off right. Chris, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good. Exciting football weekend. NFL, definitely interesting. But as always, we're here. Football season's among us. The greatest time ever. Had some spectacular games. Looking forward to the matchups this weekend and Thursday Night Football on Prime. Al Michaels and good old Kurt Herbstreit. So we'll see what Thursday Night Football brings us.
Yeah, because that switched with last week, because last week was Peacock.
That it was.
So I didn't truly fully understand that. I don't know if you understand it or not, but why did they go with Peacock last week and not Prime? Did Peacock buy the rights?
Week 1. They always televise it.
Oh, okay.
Defending Super Bowl champion. So Thursday night on NBC is always going to happen week 1.
I gotcha.
Because it's the team, the defending Super Bowl champion, gets to host the first game, gets their memorabilia, their rings, the whole shebang, and then they get upset by Motor City Dan Campbell.
Yeah. And
But the last few times the Super Bowl champ kicked off on Thursday Night Football, start week 1, it's been not a good result. Unless you're the other team.
Truly has not been a good result. And I can't even get it right now. Gonna be honest. I don't understand how you have that many drops, how you have that many issues in general, and you're still keeping players on payroll. I don't understand that. But who knows? I just don't understand how Kadarius Toney still has a job. So, very interesting stuff going on with that. But, sir, what is on the mind?
Oh, that was on the mind. I was going to say, is that what's on your mind?
What's truly on my mind is the Buckeyes improved this weekend. Did they impress me? I don't know yet. I'm still kind of pondering on this situation. If I think that this was a good game for them, if this was a bad game, if this was just all right, I don't know what the fuck to call it. I'm going to be honest. I think it was a better game than what they had, but I don't...
Better than mid?
It's not mid, but it's not mint, if you know what I mean. Like, it's just... It was all right, you know? It was just an all right game, you know? We saw some good stuff, I think. Some things that really will show some potential, but that's what's mostly on my mind right now. Is just the fact that Ohio State is moving up, which is a lot to say going into week 3. So.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely going to be interesting for week 3.
So, sir, I feel like we have to recap the first week of NFL football, which truly has you, I think, upset for the fact of mostly your picks.
I'm serious, so I won't get fined.
Absolutely. In terms of the NFL, once we get to the NCAA, oh man, once you're college football, you're all for it. You're here, you're 100%, you're swinging for the freaking fences. Because after we looked at some of these scores that we had and we had picked for last week, man, the NFL was rough. But on the other hand, your college football picks were insane. You, sir, might need to start your own sports book in terms of college football only after last week. Because I will tell you what, you had two spot freaking on. I don't know how the heck you did it. So,
I don't know. We'll talk about that later, but
absolutely. Let's talk about.
Regardless, week 1, NFL. What better way to kick off? Kansas City and Detroit. Defending Super Bowl champ now. Trying to run it back. Motor City Dan Campbell, young team on the rise. Dan Campbell and the Lions go into Kansas City without Travis Kelce, keep in mind, because Travis Kelce had an injury. And the Lions get the win 21-20. Thanks to a score by David Montgomery for a touchdown with 6 minutes still left to go in the game.
So, I think one of the biggest takeaways I've really kind of taken away from this game is let's talk about the ratings for these quarterbacks after or for post game. And when was the last time you saw somebody have a better rating by 20?
It only gets tougher with age.
Mom, what?
Well,
Yeah.
knowing Progressive can protect your home.
Sorry, hold on.
That should help you.
There we go. I had something going on in the background on my screen because I was looking some stuff up. So let's go back to what I had
love
here.
that.
Oh, and the recording's going to pick it up as well. So, when was the last time you saw an opposing quarterback actually have a rating higher than Patrick Mahomes, let alone by almost 20%?
Probably Josh Allen back in 2020 or 2021.
Absolutely. Jared Goff had a 94.1 rating, and Patrick Mahomes had a 77.5. Now, if you do that quick math, that is actually a 17-point favorite, or a 17-point rating over Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for Patrick Mahomes. Because at the end of the day, you got to show up every week. But
oh, absolutely.
The receiving was horrid. And I mean, some of the worst receiving I think you've seen for the Chiefs in a while. Because the Chiefs barely lost the receiving game. If they would have won the receiving game, they would have won this game.
Oh, absolutely.
If there were a couple more receptions, big receptions, and a few less picks, this is a totally different world. This is just standard Patrick Mahomes. The conversation this week about Patrick Mahomes will be completely different. It would be from, instead of the, oh, is there something wrong with the Chiefs, to Chiefs getting business done. It was rough to see, and there was some background issues, but the Chiefs get it done. That's the totally complete different that we're seeing this week in terms of the NFL.
Right. I mean, Mahomes, he did get 21 for 39, 226 yards. He got 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. But
not a bad week.
The drops were horrid.
Yeah.
So team receiving overall, 21 receptions. And then the touchdowns were, the first one was to Rashid Rice, the rookie that they drafted, which he's solid. But he definitely had to prove that he's a young star coming in. And then Blake Bell, the backup tight end, because Travis Kelce was out.
Mm-hmm.
But they had 37 targets.
Yeah.
And then, but Kansas City defense also forced a fumble and recovered it, as Detroit was driving for another touchdown.
So I would say, yes.
I was going to say, which, quick fun fact, Marvin Jones lost the ball for his first ever career fumble. That was the first time he fumbled in his career. Never fumbled in Cincinnati, never fumbled for his first trip to Detroit. Never fumbled in Jacksonville. Did not fumble until that game. That was a wild stat. But Marvin Jones always proved he was solid carrying the rock.
Absolutely. So, back to your targets and receptions. Let's talk and break these numbers down a little bit, because really, in terms of the receptions, there was not much different. And in terms of the targets, there really wasn't much difference. It was just the fact that there was enough difference between the percentages with it. Because
Oh, absolutely.
Detroit went 22 for 32. They dropped 10 passes. But they still went 66% there, 67% on their receptions. The Chiefs went 21 for 37. You're almost looking at almost 56% completion rate. 57 is just a guess off the top of my head. 56.
Yeah, it's like 56.7.
But as you look at it, that's massive in terms of a percentage, because that's 10%. That's 10 to 15%.
Yeah, that's 10% difference.
Like that,
Probably
those
12.
are make or break situations, especially in the situation with the Chiefs, where they are a pass heavy team. I like the look there, sir. Welcome in.
What's up?
I like
Football.
the whole view there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, my office isn't set up yet, so this is my office right now.
Not a bad look.
No,
Not a bad look at all.
Get that out of my way.
So we're talking Chiefs. We're talking the teardown of what happened in Arrowhead, which really,
Okay.
if you look at the numbers, it really isn't too much of a teardown. It's just the fact that they didn't make the receptions that they needed to make to get the game done. You know.
I mean, I can
Yeah.
tell Kansas City I'm available.
Absolutely, and the biggest thing I think
Be real
that
here.
everybody's talking about in terms of receiving is the fact that Kadarius Toney was 1 for 5. How do you go 1 for 5?
1 for 5 and assisted a pick six.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let alone, by the way, they were 21 for 37. So they had 16 receptions that were dropped. He was a fourth of those receptions that were
Right.
dropped and or lost. How do you become a
Yep.
fourth of the problem of your team in terms of your receiving yards?
Yeah.
So, on one hand, give him some hell this week because he really did mess up. But I guess on the other hand, that we need to look at it as you got to have an off week every once in a while too. You know?
Oh yeah.
And he just couldn't recover from a mistake here or there, and it just kind of snowballed. So,
Yep. I'll have to see how the next week goes for him.
oh, absolutely. So, let's stop talking negatives on the Chiefs here. Let's start talking a little bit more positives about Detroit, for the fact that David Montgomery had 21 carries, 74 yards, and a tutty. And Jahmyr Gibbs actually got, hear me out, 7 carries.
Yeah, he got 9 total touches, 7 carries, 2 receptions. 42, 18. 60 total yards.
Yeah. He averaged 6 yards per carry. Isn't bad at all.
Oh,
So,
yeah. His
Could
longest
they
run
have-
was 18 yards, which was good.
could they have implemented him more this past week? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
Should they have implemented him more this week? That's a good question.
Mhm.
He's new. He's brand new to this all. Maybe you should. A little bit of baptism by fire. See what you can get out of him, because David Montgomery is just a filler at this point. Be real. He's just there until Gibbs is ready to go. And once Gibbs is ready to go, he's going to be number 2.
I got one run I want to talk about at least.
What do you got?
Jalen Reeves-Maybin.
Okay.
1 carry for 3 yards. You guys want to take a wild guess when he carried the ball?
When's that?
When the Lions faked a punt. Second drive into the game.
Yes.
That was a risky call.
Early in
too.
the first quarter. And Dan Campbell said, screw it, we're going for it. Fake punt. Jalen Reeves-Maybin carried the rock, got the first down, which led to an Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown.
And
Dan Campbell has the biggest fucking balls, and he's carrying them in a fucking wheelbarrow because of that play. But it was fantastic for the call.
Absolutely. And just good week for Detroit coming out, especially to go to Arrowhead and do that. That's
absolutely.
A feat. And I think this is kind of the shining light that Detroit fans really needed. The fact that you can go in week one, first game of the season, and you're upsetting the Super Bowl champs at home.
Yep.
On the night that they get their rings, on the night they get honored, you upset them. That's a way to start your season right there. So Detroit could be on a revenge tour. This just could have been fluke for the fact that Kansas City was
we'll see.
I'm ready to see what happens.
And I mean, the last two games the Lions played in were critical, and Detroit played spoilers for both because defeating the Super Bowl champs. But think about it, last year, Week 18, they played spoiler and beat Green Bay, knocked them out of the playoffs, gave Aaron Rodgers his last loss ever at Lambeau, especially in a Packer uniform.
So
Detroit's on the up and rise, and I'm here for it.
Speaking of games that were not a surprise to me at all, the Cleveland Browns. I think, Dalton, you made your pick last week for a safety valve because you knew at the end of the day, if the Browns actually won, you were okay with losing that pick. But if you won the pick, you at least got a second place trophy in terms of it. You know?
I think right now on my college and NFL picks, I think I'm decently verbed enough to take one for the team, and I'll take that one for the team.
Mm-hmm. It was a great weekend to be a Browns fan, I'll tell you what.
Oh, it was a tremendous week.
We saw some things that need fixed, some fine-tuning things, but I think the number one thing that everybody that is a Browns fan needs to remember, and I think Bengals fans need to remember as well, because this game was very much different because of one factor, and that was the fact that they were in Cleveland and it was raining.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't wish those conditions upon my worst enemy, because being in Cleveland, off the lake, raining, literally, by the way, that is the only place it was raining on Sunday in all of Ohio. Just in Cleveland.
It was sunny. It was sunny down here.
Everywhere else, it literally had zero on the radar. It was literally just a pocket of freaking rain clouds that went almost in a T formation, and the T literally went down into Cleveland, and then the rest of it was on the lake.
Yeah, pretty much.
So something in the nature, something in whatever you believe in, religious or not, something said the Browns had to have a first game that had to have rain. And they showed out. They did it by winning with 3 tutties. So
yeah,
and I think I'm happy, but I'm upset because I had one surefire thing, and I forgot who the hell the head coach is, and what the fuck we do, and the fact that I should have freaking known that Nicholas Chubb was not going to be in the end zone with the football.
Yeah.
Because I took a beautiful pick of Nick Chubb anytime score and the Browns to win and to take the over. And I had a 100% boost.
I added Amari Cooper to it.
Yeah, and you swung and a miss on that one. Who was going to expect Harrison Bryant to get a touchdown this weekend? Sure as hell nobody. Sure as hell fucking nobody. Who thought that Deshaun Watson was going to walk one in? Should have known that, to be honest. That would have been a more surefire bet.
I don't think a lot of people were expecting that.
Oh, yeah, but I think at the end of the day, mobile quarterback, you should have expected it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw from the offensive side, again, Stefanski is. The only thing I'm mad about is not utilizing Chubb as much in short D&D. I do understand he loves to put the ball in the air, but still, it's Cleveland. Yeah. We have one of the best running backs in the league, if not top 3 right now, top 2. So why are we not using it? And we got two guys behind him that are, in my eyes, if Nick Chubb were to go down, we got two guys to fill. So, I mean, we do have a good receiving core. Amari Cooper did what he could do. Peoples-Jones did what he could do. And it's raining. It's raining in Cleveland. It's
Absolutely.
not fun when it's raining in Cleveland. But the defense coming out, shutting down Jamar Chase, Myles Garrett, and that's probably the most effective defensive line play I've seen from the Browns probably since before Jadeveon Clowney came. I was ecstatic. You hold him to 3. I was happy. I didn't care. Honestly, I didn't care if that game would have stayed 10-3. I would have been completely happy.
So I don't know if you saw the video clip from when Miles was lined up in the middle.
Yeah, when he was stand up over the center and he was practicing his crossover.
And he absolutely took him out. And
oh my God.
Joe was sitting in the backfield or moving in the backfield, worried as hell.
Oh yeah, I would be too. That's a very large man.
So I think this was a very skewed opening week for both the Browns and the Bengals. This is not what to expect for both of these teams. I think these receptions go up at least. So take half of the receptions that they made in terms and add it on top. So for the Bengals, I'd say 21 for 31 is what they should have been without the rain. And for Deshaun should have been, so 8 on top of 16. He should have been about 24 for 29 is what he should have been without the rain. So this is what you should be expecting. Once the Browns are kind of out of the way in terms of, the Browns and the Bengals are both out of the way in terms of this rain. I don't think the Bengals are in trouble this year. I think the Bengals were not prepared for what the defense was in Cleveland. I don't think they were ready for
it was
going on with the weather.
It was man coverage. It was press man.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all it was. So
I truly think after this weekend, the real conversation we need to be talking about is why we think the Ravens will be 3rd and the Steelers will be 4th. Because I will tell you what, Kenny Pickett has not found it yet. And I will tell you what, I don't know what the heck is going on with the Ravens, but they are not what I was expecting from them this season.
That's a loaded first game. Steelers, Niners, that's a loaded first game.
That is
absolutely.
Niners coming off with the top defense in the NFL. Yep. I mean, it's a no-brainer. They're gonna go in. They're gonna do what they were doing last year. Go, hey, you guys know what you guys know how to do this. We're just gonna shut them down, and that's exactly what they did. Ravens on the other. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the Ravens game as much. I should have, but even just looking statistically, that was not a good game either. So.
And the Ravens lost JK.
Yeah, and now we have 2 blown Achilles on week 1.
Yeah, Lamar did not.
And both of them affect my teams.
And by the way, both of those are both on the East Coast.
Yes. Bullshit.
2 guys that were very much expected to have some crazy seasons this year. Dobbins was expected to have a step-out season this year for Baltimore, and we knew what the situation was with Rodgers. Speaking of the Rodgers situation, did you see the video replay of?
Oh yeah, dude, it's plastered everywhere on social media today.
Yeah,
as soon as I saw when they came wrap and he put all that pressure on that foot, and then I saw his calf just reverb, I was like, this is over. Like this is over. It's done.
Very hefty in terms of that. The number one thing that I'm seeing in terms of what's going on with Rodgers is 2 things. First thing, people are calling for an outrage for the fact that they don't want to watch Zach Wilson have to do this for the next 17 weeks. 17, 18 weeks. Absolutely, unless they go and find a backup quarterback that they can steal. And I'm telling you now, everybody that talks about DTR leaving the Browns, no. I don't see them shipping him. They've already shipped plenty of quarterback situations out. DTR
we put him on a final roster. We're not going to ship him out that fast.
Absolutely. So
They got another guy in mind.
Anybody that's over at the Ravens talking about DTR coming over here, first thing that's in division, wrong move. Browns were not stupid enough to do that. They love money. That's a Cleveland thing, but we're not that fucking crazy. Number 2.
That's crazy.
That's probably quarterback. Being honest, that's quarterback 2. I think in the next year.
Yeah.
I think that's quarterback 2 in the next year.
Honestly, I think, let's talk about this. So I'll go back to Dobbins. Dobbins was projected to, yes, have a breakout year. He was actually projected to have a full year. Yep. And then he blows his Achilles out. I think his contract is null and void. We'll be seeing him leaving Baltimore. Yeah. Now, as of Rodgers, with the hype-up story, the hard knocks, the Hall of Fame game, when he was there, and the honoring and stuff. I knew that Aaron Rodgers moving, something was bound to happen. And I didn't know whether it was going to be game 1 or, game 6, playoffs, something was going to happen. And when I saw him go down on the 4th play that he was in, I went, yep, there it is. I said, that's the first thing I said was, there it is. And next thing you know, he's getting carried off and helped up and put on the cart. And I was like, that wasn't me. Yeah. And then get the news today, and then I'm the guy that drafts him in 3 leagues because nobody else would. And now I see why. I will say this, the Hard Knocks curse is back because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even know if you can sit here and say it's Hard Knocks. Just look at the changes in terms of just geographical location of being in New York to being in Green Bay. And
there's some changes, yeah.
Chris, I think you want to kind of piggyback up on that. I see that.
No, I was gonna add because I was watching the Manning cast last night, and of course
that's the only thing to watch.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I don't know if y'all heard Peyton. Of course, they don't have. They made a running joke like we need a play-by-play guy or something going on. If something's on the field we don't know about it, they need to inform us. So when Peyton saw the injury, he's like, "Oh, he's all right. He just needs to rub some dirt on it. Go back in next series." And then they show him on the cart, and Peyton's like, "Oh, he's actually on the cart. Oh, still rub dirt on it." And then he goes to the locker room, and Peyton's like, "Okay, this might take a little bit more than dirt."
Yeah, that's also plastered over all social media.
Right.
Is
and
that
that's
cast.
Another one. Well, the cast, and then a lot of people went out and said, it's turf, the artificial turf.
That's not what got him. What got him is the awkward angle of getting taken down and putting all his pressure on his back of his calf.
Oh, no, 100% it was.
Well, and I think
but everyone's got to go out and say it's the turf.
I think something else that you have to think about as well is you're switching teams. First thing, your personnel is completely different. I get it. You're Aaron Rodgers, so you're going to go out and you're going to pick the guys you're going to handpick the guys that will be working with you exclusively. That is your thing. But at the end of the day, the personnel is different.
Yep.
Practices are different. The environment is different. These are all different things that are different to him that his body has to now adjust to and deal with. And he has to be ready for those changes. He's aging. Aaron Rodgers is old.
Oh.
In the league, he's old. His body is past its prime. He is to the point where he is considered the old guy.
He is the oldest guy in the league.
Literally, making drastic changes like that can be very detrimental to your game.
Yeah.
And I think the other guy that we could talk about that if he did the same thing would be Kirk Cousins. If Kirk Cousins did something like that too, I'd expect it completely. If he went from Minnesota and he went to Carolina for some reason, be honest, this would happen as well to him because they're completely two different environments. It's two totally different staffs, two totally different everything. I think everything has changed for him.
Achilles is hard to judge.
It is.
I mean, I've had an Achilles blow when I was standing right beside somebody, and I mean it you know when it goes. I mean it sounds like a 12 gauge going off. But I think the real talk we need to talk about, and what every other platform is talking about, is does Aaron Rodgers retire?
Well, that is a good conversation piece because
You want to know? For me, it's not really much of a conversation. You'd be dumb not to. A lot of change, as you all just encompassed. A lot of change. There's a big chunk of money, but at the end of the day, there's terms that are guaranteed in the fine print. Dude, take the money and go retire. I think that might have been your telltale sign. Monday night primetime game against the Bills, 9-11, blow your Achilles out. I think you're done.
I think the conversation is, first thing, what's the contract look like? I can't remember exactly everything on that contract. It's huge.
It's huge.
But isn't it like a 2 or 3 year deal, correct?
I was like, no, here.
I
I'll
think
pull
it's
it up.
2.
I'll pull it up on
2-year
my phone.
contract. So it's a 2-year contract we're going to go with. Plays another year, see what happens. Heck, even if it's one of those situations where, hey, we'll rework this deal for a year, give me my guaranteed money that I had, and then I'll ride the bench and I'll get you guys through Zach Wilson era and get Zach Wilson better and become that backup quarterback, kind of like Case Keenum and all these guys that sits there and coaches. Now, will he do that? I don't think so. It's Rodgers. Rodgers is very big-headed.
So, okay, here we go.
What do you got?
So his original contract was 3 years at $112.5 million. Final contract year being 2025.
Okay.
But it said Rodgers agreed to a restructured contract back in July that includes $75 million in fully guaranteed money over the 2023 and 2024 season.
So 2 years.
He previously played down the suggestion he might only play 1 year with the Jets, but that possibility is now again up for debate after his cruel injury. That's coming from just some random sports thing. But it's sounding like when he restructured his deal in July, no matter what, he's going to get $75 million for this year. You're paying $75 million, but you got to think. Hold on, part of his money is also coming from Green Bay still.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think it's more 2/3 of his money is still coming from Green Bay. So the Jets aren't really at a loss here. I mean, they are because, you just practiced with a Hall of Fame quarterback for, however many months at OTAs if he was there, and Hard Knocks and camp and preseason. There's one preseason game that I think he only did like 2 series. But I want to take this as I don't think Aaron Rodgers – I'm going to agree with the acclimation point, but I think Aaron Rodgers probably should have took some more snaps. I don't think he was game ready.
Okay.
Look, you're a vet. You can do whatever you want. It's fine. You're Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was now in Tom Brady's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
He had that status. I changed teams. I have this. I have a city behind me. I think a different outcome would be, I don't know what the preseason game before the last one, but I think he probably should have started then. Or, something along the lines of his training, there was a flaw. And there was a major flaw that just got exposed. Or, I could be totally wrong, tinfoil cap, this is just a freak fucking accident. Swear to God.
Right. Because not going to lie, before the last preseason game when Aaron Rodgers started, he hasn't started a preseason game in almost 5 years. He hasn't played preseason. He just got ready for week 1.
Now, I could see that if you're still with Green Bay, but you're with the Jets. So, now, again, tinfoil cap, there's cameras everywhere watching. I think he's done. Take the $75 million and go retire. Why sit on it? And that's the whole, and that's what hurts too, is that's what we're going to be listening to the rest of the season is updates on what's next.
Yeah, what will be next for Rodgers, yeah.
Yeah. And personally, It's not what I want. There's
No,
a
I
lot
don't
of
think it's
teams
what
that stood
anybody
out.
wants.
Like, let's not overlook the Sunday night game with the Cowboys and the Giants.
Oh,
Holy Jesus.
how do you even do that?
Pitch a shutout since 1999, week 1.
Mm-hmm.
First off, anybody who had the Dallas defense, go fuck yourself. Because I got 47 points scored on my ass. Yeah, I think it was like 47.6 points scored on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way I was going anywhere in fantasy on one of our other leagues. But
I don't want to talk
I
about
mean,
it.
but I mean that's excuse me, that's NFC East. That's what a couple years ago we were calling the NFC least.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Became the beast.
Yeah.
Mainly because
and
the
then
Eagles.
and then not to overlook, and then we can go to college if you guys want.
Yeah.
Not to overlook the Eagles and the Patriots. Oh my God, it was a 25-20 game.
Yeah.
This weekend
Your
was some
your
eventful.
your Super Bowl runner-up only beat a team that didn't even deserve to be in playoff contention by 5 points last year.
Yeah.
And they didn't lose much.
One other game that I think was, well, two games that I think were very much overlooked. First thing, three actually. The Packers somehow pull this out, who right now are really the losers with whole Aaron Rodgers getting hurt.
They got a second round pick because they were supposed to get a draft pick out of him too.
But are they really the losers now?
The Packers won by 18 against the Bears.
And everyone favored Chicago.
Everybody favored Chicago. In Chicago. What would that have been in Lambeau? And what's it going to be in Lambeau at the end of the year?
It's Jordan Love's team now.
Absolutely. Number two, the Raiders going to Mile High and winning by 1.
Yeah.
That is a conversation piece to be looking at. Holy shit.
Well, that kind of tells you where are the Raiders and where are the Broncos now.
Broncos got better.
Yeah.
I don't know why, other than the fact that Russell Wilson actually is a quarterback now. And not.
Hey, there's one game.
I know. And at least he actually showed up for one. That's what I'm excited for, and hopefully he can continue doing that. Game number 3 that I think is getting overlooked and really truly overlooked is the fact that the Cardinals only lost by 4. And they do not have a soul on that team right now. They have Connor. They have James Conner.
Did they play again?
They play the Commanders. It's not a big conversation win. Don't get me wrong.
No, but that's a good one to point out because the Arizona Cardinals are still like projected first pick.
My point taken.
Yeah.
Like it just the fact of week 1 in the NFL was very crazy.
It was nuts.
Absolutely. So be on the lookout for the NFL. Final comment on the NFL. I don't know if you guys have some final words. I'm mad at myself because I lost to Dallas's defense, but I could have won this week if I started Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk dropped 36 points in fantasy. 36.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
And I had him on my bench.
It's all right.
My bench didn't do so well, and I played Chris, and Chris actually got me on week 1 for once. I think this is the first week 1 that he's ever beat me.
This is my first week 1 loss, and it is painful.
Yeah. Well, hey, all I gotta say is I'm optimistic. I remember it was the first year I ever did fantasy, and I went 0-1 in both of my leagues I was in, and then I ended up going 10-1 in both of them after that. So.
Well, if I start Brandon Ayuk, I'll be fine.
Well, now I'm starting Jordan Love until my waiver wire goes through for Brock Purdy in my 2 leagues, and then I picked up Mac and Cheese Jones as my. I
Yeah,
picked
was
him
on
up.
my bench. I had him on my
So-
bench in one of my leagues, and he got 25 points.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
could have won if I started him in that league.
I think what really hurt me and what I really could have got Chris on is if Kels was not injured, I probably could have beat him.
Yeah, because the reason why I beat you is Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
And
real
Tyreek
quick.
Hill went off in my other league, which got me to out of 3 of my leagues, I'm 1-0 in one league, so I'm happy.
11 receptions, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyreek, have a day. But Tua threw for 466 yards.
Well, I wonder what his points were and who had him on a bench.
Podcast league wise, Sherm got him, but he started him. Now you got me talking fantasy. I'm gonna look it up and see.
So we'll get this fantasy quick update, and then we've got to roll on to college football because
Works for
27
Great.
points.
shoot.
27-14.
So
That's how many points Tua had.
in terms of points and conversations of points that I did not like seeing this weekend, 35-7 win, not 37. 35-7 win this weekend against Youngstown State.
Yeah.
That was not the point differential we were looking for this weekend. And I can see it in your face, Dalton. I can see it in Chris's face, and I definitely can see it in my face because I'm looking back at myself.
Well,
what is your takeaway from this weekend? Because I have some positives, I have some negatives.
so my biggest takeaway from this weekend would probably have to be number one. I stopped watching that game after halfway through the third quarter. After I realized that Ohio State could not any longer move the ball with Devin Brown. I'm very glad that everybody got the news. Kyle McCord is our starting quarterback as of this week. Great. I think there was no brainer on that. Why the hell we even played Devin Brown? And I was thinking, why are we doing this? And then I listened to other like sports podcasts and sportscasters on radio. And they're like, well, maybe the coaches saw something in him. And maybe they did. But he's just not ready. He's not. And wholeheartedly, I think Kyle McCord is just starting to get comfortable. But I'd rather have somebody that's just starting to get comfortable and not somebody that has no idea what the hell is going on. Do I think that Ohio State deserves everything that they're getting thrown at them? There's nobody in this whole fucking state that can argue with me right now. I don't care if you've been a Buckeye fan for 65 fucking years. There is no fucking team that Ohio State should have pounced on more than Youngstown State. Trust me, I was there. I know how they are. Youngstown State is a decent team, but Ohio State is a Power 5 team. There's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. Youngstown State even being able to hang with Ohio State, I hope they do great things in the FCS. It's changed over, I haven't been there for 2 years. It's changed tremendously. Props to them. I'm not downgrading them. We literally just paid them millions of dollars to hang with us.
Yeah.
That's not the Ohio State way.
Right. And
And the thing was, there wasn't even any second half adjustments. Now, defensively, there were some flaws that started to come out, which was coverage wise and, basic run scheme, but it also didn't help that, Ryan Day hit on this very well. They were snapping the ball under 10 seconds. Every time they sat down, they were on the ball 10 seconds. So they were quick gaming, which is fine. Ohio State needs to see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we get it from any other opponent? We don't know. But I will say we just put on film that they can't handle it.
Yeah.
So if I'm the rest of the Big Ten, I'm licking my chops going, okay, I just got to quick game them and I can probably get 6.
Yep.
So my takeaway is this. We deserve to be number 6, and I'm scared when the CFP standings come out here in a couple weeks. I'm terrified.
Chris, what's your takeaway?
Pretty much same as Dalton. Devin Brown. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm happy Devin Brown got more play time, but we know he isn't ready. But second half, those snaps for him, he definitely needed them. That snaps to get him comfortable within the pocket and everything. Yeah, Kyle McCord's the starter. We kind of had a hunch that was going to happen. But like Dalton said, Kyle McCord, and I agree with Dalton, Kyle McCord's getting more comfortable in the pocket. Start the most comfortable guy that you can. And honestly, I think even before week 1, that's what hurt McCord, because he didn't get many snaps, because when CJ Stroud was there, we always played Stroud even when we were up big, and it's like, okay, time to put some players in, get them some snaps and everything, and the thing we didn't change was the quarterback.
Right.
But McCord getting comfortable, I understand it with Brown. Receiving wise, I still want to see. I think they could have put a few more receivers in, give them some more snaps. But that's just me how I am for receiver wise. I'm trying to pull up box score to see if we had any other receivers. Yeah, because honestly, it was Fleming and Tate. Tate went in and got a few snaps, but unless something's going on with Jaden Ballard, and I think Caleb Burton's with the team too, or not, Burton transferred. I forgot that one. But it's just, I think a few more receivers could have went in to get some more snaps. And then the quick game defensively, we got to get on it.
Well,
but it's also week 2. It is week 2. We're still adjusting to everything, but we'll find out more when we preview the next game Ohio State has, because I'm definitely got some questions with it.
Yeah.
I still have thousands of questions. All right, Mike, let's hear yours.
So I think the positives we need to take away from this weekend, and I'm not even going to go mark the negatives. I felt like you guys covered those pretty well. I think the positives we need to remember is we have an amazing running back room.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Three
You're missing
running
another
backs.
room.
We have a great
Wide
receiving
receiver.
room.
And
Yes,
receiver.
I understand we have a great receiving room, but everybody talks about the great receiving room. That is the number one conversation piece with Ohio State. I don't need to fulfill any other conversations about that. The state of Ohio has fulfilled those already. The running back room needs a little bit of praise, because I will tell you what, Chip Trainum and Travion Henderson looked really good this weekend. Mine Williams looked really, really good this weekend.
Travion
Overall,
definitely looked like he was
They look
coming
like
back
a
to his freshman
tan.
year.
They looked great. As a room,
looked
as a
great.
group, as just everything. They need some love. Travion had that amazing run that got him right into the end zone. That was beautiful. It was perfect. That is exactly what Ohio State needed to get back to in terms of a running back, which we have not had for a season or two. In terms of solid.
Probably since JK.
JK would probably be the guy, because I was getting ready to go and be like, well, we can go back to Zeke, but I'm like, that's really far.
No.
Give JK in
Zeke
there.
was far. It's JK. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what Ohio State has made themselves in terms of football. They need to be able to return to that, and also have an amazing wide receiver room where you're going to have a couple first-round draft picks next year. That needs to be talked about. Something I didn't talk about in the past week, and really I don't think got a lot of love this week in terms of passing. I don't see him even on the list. Tight ends. Cade Stover.
Hey, yeah.
Needed some love. And to be honest, I needed to bring it back this week to talk about the fact that he really showed out week 1, and I'm ready for him to continue showing out. I did talk about it week 1.
Yes, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you mentioned
I'm
it week
talking
1.
about it even more. We're going to talk about the fact that
definitely
tight ends
do it.
really need some love here, because with the wide receivers, you have a solid tight end that's ready to go with Cade Stover. Your wide receivers are covered up. Cool. Drop it down to Cade. Or do a check down to what you have in your running back room. Holy shit, you have 3 fucking options in terms of passing. Utilize them all, because every one of those motherfuckers can catch a ball and ride. Please give it some love.
Okay.
Chris, what do you got?
Give Geese some love, because he's definitely proven to be tight end too.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, 1 reception for 9 yards, but if we needed him and Cade, and we're doing the 2 tight end set, G's been throwing blocks like nothing.
Yep.
Him moving from receiver to tight end, I was feeling comfortable. Like, I really wish he stayed receiver, but of course, like I said, receiver blood in me. But him moving to tight end, working out, gaining a bit more weight, getting lean, it's definitely helping Gee and him and Cade together. It's a 1-2 tight end punch we got right now.
Hopefully the offensive line gets a little bit better with their coverage. They're starting to look a little bit better, I think, than week 1. I think they improved this week.
Yeah, their zone scheme is looking a lot better.
Oh yeah.
Now, again, you're looking at 2 totally different teams. Indiana is FBS. We're looking at Youngstown State that is FCS. 2 totally different worlds, but they're still all guys that get recruited in that conversation. Yep. It's just, I think there's got to be some give or take there on that conversation of the line got better, I think, this week, but you're also playing a little bit different of a world in terms of football. So,
well, I want to talk about one line that still isn't really standing out that well is the defensive line is still lagging slightly. I think that, you know, the one thing that Ohio State is missing right now is definitely a iconic edge like we've had in the past, or that inside guy. I think maybe this week they have to show that this defense can hold their own on the line. Youngstown State was hitting some stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I said, Youngstown State just came into the shoe and said, if we can compete with these guys, what can we do on our own level?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
They can do whatever they want right now.
That opening drive for a touchdown, I knew what was happening for Youngstown.
Yeah. So,
Mitch Davidson's not too shabby of a quarterback. He's solid.
I know that people are going to argue, well, Ohio State's a second-half team. Again, I know that. But what did they do in the second half?
They didn't adjust.
Nothing. They didn't do anything, which is fine. I mean, if that's schematically what they want to do, to not show anything, to when they get in the Big Ten play, or they don't want to put anything on film for South Bend, that's fine. I'm not mad. But you need to tell that to the people that don't really know football that well, unlike the 2 other guys I'm sitting here with and the coaches I've worked with. That's fine. I can tell you night and day. Yeah, sure, don't sell yourself out on film and live television. Everybody's going to see it. So,
again, I wouldn't be 100% worried yet in terms of Ohio State in the conversations with what we're seeing. This is just not what you're used to in terms of a game plan. And hopefully this game plan works, you know, maybe utilizing this game plan of maybe we don't show out in the first 3 weeks. We get the job done. We do what we need to do. And then we start showing out later into the season and everybody starts thinking, oh, they're starting to roll. Maybe it's the approach. Who knows? But as of right now, I wouldn't worry about it. You got a solid backs room. You got a solid receiving room. You've got a quarterback that's starting to warm up a little bit and start getting a little bit of leeway in terms of what he can do. And really starting to show his talent. So I will back off on the flack on the quarterback situation at Ohio State. I will sit back and let Kyle McCord do his thing.
It's all we can do as fans.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So, gentlemen, I think there is one other college game that I think we have to talk about. And we don't have to go in depth because I don't know how much you guys watched in terms of it.
All of it.
We got to talk about that Texas-Alabama game.
Oh, yes, we do.
Called it.
Oh, yes, we do.
Give me the rundown, sir, because I was unfortunately unable to watch that game.
First off, if you're a true Ohio State fan, you were crying because of Quinn Ewers. You were crying because, dear Lord, that man found his home.
Mm-hmm.
Sarkisian figured out how to put a staff together. And I'm not gonna jump on the bandwagon and say the Longhorns are back. But I will say, you know, even Pat McAfee show, like they did at the game, that was probably the coolest thing I've seen since the Manning brothers started doing the Manning cast.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's horns down anymore, guys. I think the horns are starting to work their way up. But I just hope they don't think that this was their national championship. But they exploited Alabama a long time, since 2010 when they played against each other in the BCS National Championship. Texas finally came back and said, fuck you, this is our time. And they did on Alabama's home turf. To the point where fans were walking out with 2 minutes left to go in the game. Maybe 3. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. But all I got to say is that I already got my eye. Quinn Ewers, as long as he keeps playing, Heisman Trophy winner. 100%.
So I have one point that I have to look at that I looked at the pieces here. I feel bad for the guy that put money that Ewers was going to go over 350 on yards.
Yeah, me too. I saw that.
349. That guy was crying into his beer Saturday evening because he was going to have a payout. I'll tell you what.
I mean, let's talk about Quinn because Quinn was the standout. I mean, Texas as a whole was a standout.
Well,
but Quinn looked like, I mean, in my comparison, sucks he's injured now, but he looked like Aaron Rodgers. He knew where to put the ball. He knew how his receivers would act. He knew that what guys would go for what. Like, who would ever thought that a wide receiver would sell out for a pass over the top of your head? Just keep running, bud. I'm going to put it in a basket. And that's exactly what he did. Yeah.
Xavier Worthy. Just boom.
And then it 100% of the momentum of that game was directed to Texas. I don't even think Nick Saban thought his team could beat Texas.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, I'll be the first one to say it, and it's recorded. I think Alabama doesn't make the CFP this year. And it's going to be because of this game that happened last Saturday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I guarantee that this year, the last year of the 4, they're going to be 5 or 6 looking in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what also scares me about Notre Dame, too, because Notre Dame's averaging 45 points a game right now.
Yeah.
So, I think something else that needs to be looked at is, first thing, that Texas receiving room. That's something to look at. There's another really good receiving room right there.
Tavion Sanders, 5 receptions, 114 yards. Ready for the best part? That's the tight end.
Yeah.
They gave up 100 plus receiving yards to a tight end.
Yeah.
But Xavier Worthy,
50-yard dart from him too.
Yeah. And then Xavier Worthy, he's pretty much the 3rd best receiver in college football right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, behind Marvin Harrison and Emeka Ibuka. But he's still a solid receiver. And then Adonai Mitchell, 3 receptions, 78 yards. 2 of those 3 receptions were touchdowns. And that receiving room is solid. And Quinn even got into the fact. He got 1 reception for 3 yards.
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
Jermaine Burton for Bama, he got 2 receptions, 58 yards, and 1 touchdown. But, I mean, he transferred from Georgia and went to Alabama. The year after they won it all. The year he won it all with Georgia, he transferred.
Yeah.
Wonder if he's thinking about that. But he's still receiver 1 with Bama. But Bama, I'm looking into this season when everyone said Alabama's back there winning it all. And I'm like, Alabama's in the same situation as us. Who's QB1? And Bama's not back, just so y'all are aware.
So, some other notable games that need to be talked about this weekend. Duke is now in the top 21, or the top 25. They got business done with Lafayette. Keyword, They just did what they needed to do. Tulane loses to Ole Miss.
Still a game, though.
Still a game, solid.
Tulane made it a game, even losing their starting quarterback.
Big conversation pieces this weekend as well. The Hurricanes upset Texas A&M, which, how you guys were talking about, really doesn't seem too much of an upset. More just seems like a conversation that needed to happen. Colorado gets business done against Nebraska. I feel like we all expected that with what's going on there.
That was a no-brainer. Now I do want to say I don't think Colorado is 100% a CFP team yet. They haven't really proved themselves that well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're on the rise.
Absolutely,
So
they keep it up, they're definitely a New Year's Six bowl game.
Right.
They keep it up, they're in the New Year's Six bowl game.
They'd be in the Rose Bowl.
Clemson had a good bounce back week against Charleston South, 66-17. That's good for them to look in the standings. Another conversation upset alert for a Big Ten team that was in the top 20, which will now not be in the top 20. Washington State upset Wisconsin. That was 31-22. That was a big one.
And that was a good game because I ended up watching the tail end of that game, and I'm like, Wazoo's pulling the upset again. And
Absolutely.
they did. And I'm like, man.
Well, it's almost like Wisconsin couldn't put drives together, is what it seemed like. Like they would get something going and then it'd get shut down. And then they get something going.
Yeah. Number he just couldn't hold on to the ball because he got stripped. But he also said he was down, but from all the replay angles it showed he got stripped on the way down.
Last two games on my docket for conversation. So last two conversation pieces I have is Iowa, keeping it alive and actually showing that they had a little bit of offense this year against Iowa State, 20-13. And last but not least, Toledo. What the fuck happened there with Texas Southern? 71-3.
Toledo was upset. Yeah, Toledo hung 71.
That is insane.
Maction, baby.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, can we get moved along into picks for me, sir?
Absolutely.
Chris,
hey, yeah,
what else you got for me, sir?
Dalton's Maction. I was getting ready to say break out the turnover tires.
Oh, yeah, the turnover tires.
Akron has turnover tires.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of here for it. Now the best part, I got to remember what games I picked. So I'm actually in the process of pulling the doc up so I know how everything looks, if I can get everything pulled up.
Absolutely.
Because the power of technology.
I'm going to fill my water really quickly. I will be right back.
So, not even filled out. Gotta love it. So, as he fills up the water, I'm going to go ahead and just start chatting a little bit. Because we got a week 1 game in Athens for Ohio as they take on Iowa State. Iowa State is a 3-point favorite. Kickoff is at noon on ESPNU. Over under 44 points. Dalton, if you're still there, who are you taking? Oh, that is lovely. Okay. While I'm at it, I'm going to just type everything away. Ohio, Iowa State, Ohio. So there he is.
Sorry about that, sir. Let's rock and roll. Let's ride.
Well, I think we lost our man with the photo of 2 twisted T's because I said the game and I have not heard a reply. So anyway,
okay,
I will still repeat.
I'm ready.
All right. Noon on ESPNU. Athens, Ohio. The Ohio Bobcats taking on the Iowa State Cyclones. Iowa State's a 3-point favorite. Over under 44 total points. What you got, Chairman?
Oh, Wait, so we're talking OU and Iowa State is what we're looking at here?
Yep. Iowa State and Ohio.
Interesting. I think Iowa State gets it done. We're going to go with 7 on that one. After what Iowa State had done with the conversation with Iowa last week, but OU has had some quite a bit bangers in terms of that week 1. They had a really good conversation with. I don't know what, we'll go OU 3. How about that? I think I like that a little bit better.
Okay. You're good. I'm kind of typing as I go.
Perfectly fine.
But you could, I was going to say you update your score. I'll do mine.
Yeah.
As much as I love Ohio and the Bobcats and everything they're doing,
Yeah.
and Rourke is, from what I read, Rourke is looking solid. I'm going to see if I can pull up the game cast. Yeah, because Rourke, so far this season, he's 26 of 39, 278 yards. He did throw a touchdown, but he does have 2 picks.
Mhm.
Ohio has been looking good. And as much as I want the upset, I would really love Ohio to win, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Matt Campbell will get his team in good functioning movement. Iowa State's going to take the win, but I think Ohio's going to make it a pretty interesting game. So I'm taking Ohio. I'm taking Iowa State, and I think they win by 3.
I get you.
So there he is.
Welcome back.
Sorry, muted. I had to take some drugs. Got kind of a head cold thing that's going around.
All good.
All right. Yeah, because I literally said the game and heard nothing. I'm like, oh, I'm talking to myself. Great. Anyways.
I thought the blank screen would kind of show that, but that's just me though.
No.
I thought you were also looking stuff up.
Iowa State and Ohio.
Yep, Iowa
Yes,
State
sir.
and Ohio.
I'll take Iowa State by 7.
Iowa State by 7.
Iowa State is an up and coming team. I think Matt Campbell can get it done. It's a good pick for Ohio. I mean, if you're a true Maction fan, Ohio is actually projected top for the MAC this year. But I don't think they get it done against Iowa State.
Understandable. All right, next game up we got is a little Big Ten ACC action. They are rowing the boat from Minnesota, Chapel Hill, to take on Mac Brown and North Carolina Tar Heels. 3:30 on ESPN. North Carolina is a 7.5-point favorite. Over under 50 total points. Who you like, Dalton? Who you taking?
I'm going to take North Carolina by 14.
North Carolina by 14.
I don't think Minnesota doesn't have it. I really don't think they have it.
Chairman.
24 for North Carolina.
24 for North Carolina.
Yes.
I hope I get proven wrong, but I really don't think they have it.
Yeah.
Good game regardless. Appalachian State, I think, from what I caught, I think Appalachian State showed a lot of flaws in North Carolina, and North Carolina's going to have to fix. Minnesota, definitely a big test. It's a road test, of course. But I think PJ Fleck could get it done against Mac Brown. I think Minnesota gets the win, but it's going to come down to the last possession. Minnesota wins game-winning field goal. So Minnesota by 3. The next game, 4 o'clock on Fox. I got to scroll all the way because they're a favorite. The passing air attack of Western Kentucky is coming to the shoe. Ohio State's a 28-point favorite. Over under 63 total points. Dalton, what you got?
Oh, man. Got Ohio State by 14.
Jeez, okay.
I don't think Ohio State has shown, to me at least, that there's no reason why a true air raid team can't come in, spread them out, and just throw the ball.
Okay.
Now, I'm still taking Ohio State, but I'm not taking it by a large margin because we've already seen how those margins pan out. They don't. So, Ohio State by 14. I'm not changing it either.
Chairman.
I have Ohio State by 35. I think they'll hopefully get out of this slump. They'll figure it out, and this week they just they get to it.
All right.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
Are they going to celebrate with coconuts?
Absolutely, always with coconuts.
All right. Western Kentucky is a passing team for a reason. They usually run an air raid offensive scheme. The last couple players they had Austin Kendall, who was a grad transfer. He slung the ball pretty good. There was a guy beforehand who led 2 consecutive seasons in passing yards. And he literally won the trophy for the best quarterback, was up for top quarterback award because of his passing yards. You guys know his name? I wanted him in Cleveland, but he's backing up Mac and Cheese Jones and Bailey Zapp.
Bailey Zapp.
Austin Reed is no different. So far, Austin Reed is 56 for 83, 500 touchdowns. My biggest question mark is, what is Ohio State going to do against an air raid offense? How good is coverage going to be? How good will man zone be? That's my biggest question going into this game, and that's how it was last year after the spring game. Because I'm looking at the schedule, and you know me, I got to preview some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be interesting regardless. I'm hoping feel like we're going to change schemes with the defensive line, and we're going to at least blitz 4 every time, obviously. We'll probably throw some linebacker coverages, but we'll see. I want to see what Jim Knowles has up his sleeve, obviously, because we're going to have to pull out some tricks. Yes, Western Kentucky might be a group of 5, but they're a solid group of 5. They're usually in the running. But Ohio State gets the job done, and actually, Dalton, to surprise you, I also have Ohio State by 14.
See, I'm not fucking crazy, okay?
Of all the games, I would say take the Ohio State not to cover. This is definitely one game I don't think Ohio State covers. If Ohio State covers, I'll be happy that I was proved wrong. Mm-hmm. But right now, I'm not taking Ohio State to cover. And that 63 total points, I actually would I would hit the hammer button on over. Definitely take over. And another thing I want to preview, I want to see Kyle McCord slinging it even more. He definitely improved last game slinging the ball. This game, he's definitely going to have to show off that he's a passer for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So, next game we got is an SEC matchup at 7 o'clock. Tennessee is heading down to the swamp to take on Florida. Tennessee is a 6.5-point favorite. 59 total points scored this game for the over-under. Here you got, Dalton.
Well, I'm going to take Tennessee by 10 on this one.
Tennessee by 10. Chairman.
I have Tennessee by 14.
Tennessee by 14.
No, I actually had 10 down for them as well. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. Dalton and I are on the same boat.
Well, I'm in that boat, but it's a little different. I got Tennessee winning. I think Florida it'll be a game in the swamp.
Okay.
But Tennessee takes it by 4.
Yeah. I'd take that too.
Yeah. I think Florida will have the lead by 3. Tennessee will score a touchdown, make it 4, and Florida's going to have to drive the field for a touchdown. And I don't think Billy Napier and this team will do it, unfortunately. So, final game on the list. And this one's going to be a good one for a few of our fans. The Backyard Brawl is on ABC at 7:30. Saturday
Yep.
Night Football. Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Pittsburgh got the win last year. This year it's in Morgantown. Pitt's a 1-point favorite. Over under 50 total points. Dalton, you think Pitt's going to go 2 for 2 and run it back? Or do you think West Virginia will say Mountain Mama and send Pittsburgh home on the country roads?
Well, I saw a West Virginia team hold it in with Penn State not too long ago, at least for a little bit. Yep, I'm going West Virginia by 3.
Chairman.
I have West Virginia by 7. It is a different team this year.
Absolutely.
I don't know why it keeps making me do this, but okay. So yeah, I think 7 points is the best situation for this. That's what you need to be looking at. Just do it as it is, 7 points.
You made sure that 3 was big, didn't you?
I was trying to make it the right size. It for some reason wanted bold, italicized, and freaking capitalized. Or freaking
You wanted to make
high.
You wanted to make sure Dalton was guaranteed the 3. You were letting me know. So
How about yourself, sir?
I also have 3 points.
Okay.
But before I do, Pitt does have the solid passing quarterback in Yurkovich, the grad transfer from Boston College. Matchup predictor has Pittsburgh at 64% compared to West Virginia's 36%.
Mm-hmm.
But Green's not too shabby slinging the ball. But there's one man I think that's going to go off, and it's Donaldson Jr., the running back for West Virginia. He was solid against Penn State. He looked solid last week. I think he's making the game himself. / John Denver cranks it loud, saying, West Virginia, I'm taking the Mountaineers. Mountaineers win by 3. Take me home country roads. So, there's our college picks. Now we're moving on to the NFL. First game we got is Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. Once my technology finally loaded. Kurt 5-Chain Thuggin' Cousins, Jay Jetta, and the Vikings travel to Lincoln Financial Field to take on Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, or as we nickname them, the Bulldogs, because of the Georgia roster they pretty much drafted.
Oh, shit.
Eagles are a 7-point favorite with an over-under of 49 total points. Who you got, Dalton?
I'll take the Eagles by 7. They need a cleanup game.
Chairman.
Oh, who do I have here? I have the Eagles by 7 as well. And I think this might be a clean sweep.
Clean sweep with 7s. I got the Philadelphia Bulldogs winning by 7. Next game, divisional rivalry. Sunday at 1 o'clock. The Baltimore Ravens take on the Cincinnati Bengals at Paycor. Can the Bengals bounce back, or will the Ravens, with Lamar, run to 2-0? 3.5-point line for Cincinnati. Over under 46.5 total points. What you got, Dalton?
Take the Bengals by 6.
Okay.
Bengals by 6. Okay. Chairman.
I'm taking the Bengals by 10. I think this is a week for them to come back and really show out. I just not 100% sold on the Ravens this year.
I'm taking Who Dey Nation. Bengals win by 3.
Okay.
I think Baltimore's defense will still be solid. Bengals' offensive line is still questionable. And I think it'll still be a game till the end, and Evan McPherson gets the game-winning field goal.
Beauty.
So, kind of changing it up now. The next game we got is Sunday Night Football in New England. Division matchup. Miami Dolphins take on the New England Patriots. Dolphins a 2.5-point favorite. Over under 46.5 total points. Who you got, Dalton?
I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm going to take Dolphins by 3.
Dolphins by 3. Chairman.
I will be taking the Dolphins by 7.
I'm going to do a clean sweep for Miami, but I got Miami pulling a comeback touchdown by Tyreek Hill. Dolphins win by 4. So,
not a bad move with Tyreek.
So these two games are going to be a little special because we got 2 Monday Night Football games.
Yes.
One at 7 o'clock, one at 8 o'clock. The first one is the New Orleans Saints traveling to Charlotte, North Carolina to take on my beloved Carolina Panthers. New Orleans is a 3-point favorite, over under 40 points. Dalton, who you taking?
I don't want to go with Carolina, but I think I'm going to go with Carolina. I don't know. Carolina by 2.
Carolina by 2.
I don't want to, but for some reason I should, because the Saints are not really that good of a team. Just saying.
All right. Chairman.
I'm going to back my score down a little bit. I think the Saints by 7.
Saints by 7.
Carolina's still trying to get their feet under them. With the start of the season, new quarterback, new everything. They've got guys, they just got to start learning to implement them and utilizing them the proper way. I think Saints get it by tutty.
We were decent. A lot of things to fix. Bryce Young has thrown his first touchdown to Hayden Hurst. Offense wasn't too shabby. Defense held their own. Atlanta's going to be something else this year, so that's definitely something to look forward to. Of course, we started with a divisional opponent on the road, and now we got a divisional opponent at home. We were lucky. We beat the Saints last year at home. And I think defensively we need to step up, get Derek Carr out of his rhythm and contain Jamal Williams. And double coverage Chris Olave. Yeah, they got Michael Thomas, but we contain Thomas, of course. J.C. Horn's out indefinitely for a few weeks. And we signed a new running back, Tariq Conan. So it's going to be interesting. But because it's me and my team, keep pounding. I had to do it gently so I didn't spill my drink, but keep pounding. We're getting the win over New Orleans and the fake Houday team with their Houdat, which they sold from Cincinnati. I feel like different story. Carolina gets the win. Carolina by 7. So, on to the final game. Monday Night Football. This one's on ABC. Divisional matchup. We started with one, now we're ending with the other. The new helmet wearing of white with their slick traditional uniforms from 1946. Cleveland Browns debuting their new uniform and helmet and everything, which is going to look fantastic under the lights. Going to the stadium I'm still calling Heinz Field. Fuck Acrisure. Anyway, taking on Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cleveland's a 2.5-point favorite, 39.5 over under. Dalton, what you got?
I think Pittsburgh's going to come out and try to set a statement after the embarrassing first loss they have this year. But I think the Browns will overcome. I think the Browns will do the things that they're supposed to do, and I got the Browns by 3.
Browns by 3. Chairman.
I'm throwing it out the window. I do not care. The Browns are going to win this by 17. This is just me being an overconfident Browns fan this evening. I am...
Peep the Baker jersey.
Absolutely. I'm not even going to say what every Browns fan says at the beginning of the season of this is our year, because I don't think it is. But this is going to be a better year, and I see us taking this game in Pittsburgh.
All right, 2 things real quick. 1, see if you could change the colors on the jersey and do a welcome to football for your future father-in-law because it's Mayfield and Mayfield plays for his team.
Yeah.
Number 2, I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Zadarius Smith. Perfect addition to that Browns, your guys' defense, and
Absolutely.
he definitely proved it week 1. Okay, double team Myles Garrett. Okay, well, who's stopping Zadarius? Oh, hey, guess what? Joe Burrow's on the ground because we didn't stop that. Okay. They're going to get, I think Pittsburgh's going to have that same situation. They're going to worry about Myles Garrett and not worry about Zadarius, and Zadarius is going to have a monster game. Denzel Ward will still play solid coverage. Man-to-man, whatever. I know Deontay Johnson, I think he might be out. They haven't fully dropped the report yet. Cam Hayward was fighting an injury. Pittsburgh's got some injuries going on. But I think Jim Schwartz is going to run some fantastic defensive schemes and definitely going to have Kenny Pickett holding on to the ball a bit longer because of a few different reads. But the Pittsburgh Steelers did not bring back their Bumblebee uniforms for this game, so they're automatically going to lose. I'm taking the Browns. They're going to win Monday Night Football under the lights with their new uniforms. Browns are taking the win by 10.
I'm just going to stick with 3s.
Have fun with that.
3. I thought 3, but there's one thing I thought of. Big man scoop and score.
Yeah.
That's where I got my extra point.
Yeah.
Big man scoop and score to make it 10. So that's the games.
All right.
All right, gentlemen. We have anything else we want to cover? You got a piece this week? No piece this week? Okay.
Not peace.
No peace,
Nope.
no love. No final bit of the week. So, gentlemen, any
Deuces.
final words, colorful anecdotes, pieces of information?
Fuck this head cold that's going around.
It's
I've already
pretty
went
bad.
through a whole box of tissues.
Yep.
And other than that, go Browns, go Bucks. And
Go Ohio
well,
sports teams.
I would say go Polar Bears, but they did drop one to Alma week 1. But I say go Polar Bears and go Comets.
Salute. Chris?
Another great football weekend coming up. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. So, on that note, I will thank you for listening to Not Your Average Sports Fans podcast.
It's time to go. I got a bedtime reminder. I got to go to bed here in 45 minutes.
Yeah, it is Betty by time.
Night-night.
I feel like it's a good stopping point.
Thank you for listening to the Not Your Average Sports Fan podcast. Please give a review and smash that like and follow button.
Just end the podcast.